Hello, friends and or foes, and welcome back. Today we'll be reading the first chapter of The First Step is Always the Hardest by an orphaned account. This is a two-chapter fic with 2,533 words. Here's the summary. Izuku didn't hate his mom. As much as he wished that she were different, he could understand why she did the things she did. Things like leaving him home alone for weeks without any food or way to contact her. But that was expected, preferred for a quirkless person. He knew he had it good compared to the majority. That didn't change his past dream of having a different mom. Izuku would lay in his bed as a child and wish for a parent who would tuck him in and read him bedtime stories. It seemed fake that a mother would do that, but he could dream, and dream he did. Izuku decides to tell Aizawa that he doesn't want to go home for the weekend. Chapter 1. The first step is always the hardest. Izuku didn't hate his mom. As much as he wished that she were different, he could understand why she did the things she did. Things like leaving him home alone for weeks without any food or way to contact her. But that was expected, preferred for a quirkless person. He knew he had it good compared to the majority. That didn't change his past dream of having a different mom. Izuku would lay in his bed as a child and wish for a parent who would tuck him in and read him bedtime stories. It seemed fake that a mother would do that, but he could dream, and dream he did. They got more in depth as he got older. He added more criteria for his imaginary parent. Someone who'd kiss his burns from Kachan and magically make them feel better. Who'd tell the school that it wasn't his fault he got hurt all the time. Someone who wouldn't care that he was quirkless. This mental image of a parent made his mom's image morph into something different in his mind. Her flaws stuck out more than anything. She was never around, leaving him alone all of the time. She forgot to leave him food and money, and she rarely even spoke to him. Yet she acted like a loving mother when All Might came to ask for permission for him to move into the dorm. As soon as he left, Izuku could tell that she didn't care. Izuku loved his mom, but did she love him? That was the question that was always on his mind lately. It sprung back on a random Sunday, weeks after he'd moved into the dorms. He was in the common room with some of Class 1A. They had a test on Monday and were given the day to study. So some of the class had gone to the common room to study. He was invited by Uraraka and Ida to study with them at one of the tables, and Todoroki decided to tag along last minute. "Hey Deku, are you okay?" Izuku snapped his head up and lowered his hand from his chin, pressing them flat on the table. He'd been staring at his notebook and thinking about his mom again. He forced a smile on his face and responded to her. "I'm okay, Uraraka, just thinking." She smiled back. "About the test?" Izuku didn't hesitate to nod. "I'm worried that I won't do well on it. This unit has been hard to grasp." The lie fell so easily from his lips that it almost made him sick. "You shouldn't worry. You're extremely good at English, Midoriya," Ida commented, chopping his hand in the familiar quick motions. "Yes, it's like you're fluent," Todoroki added. Izuku felt his heart warm with the praise. He really didn't deserve his friends. The only thing he did was lie to them. "Watching all my interviews will do that to you," Izuku responded sheepishly. Uraraka frowned suddenly, looking up from her study sheet and giving him her full attention. "You're acting a bit off today. If you need anything, I'm here, okay?" Izuku really didn't deserve to be her friend. "I'm sorry, I lied to you. I'm actually pretty tired right now. I ran for a lot longer than usual this morning." Izuku scratched the back of his neck awkwardly. Todoroki stared at him. "You should go to sleep if you're tired, Midoriya." "I agree with Todoroki. Do not overwork yourself," Ida said, already getting up to help Izuku put his things away. Uraraka jumped up to assist as well. Both of them helped Izuku pack his things so he could go head up to his room. Thank you guys, really. They gave him smiles and well wishes as he headed back up. He loved his friends, but as lovely as studying with them had been, his mind eventually wandered back to his mom again. She didn't make any sense to him. He flopped onto his bed with a groan. How was she able to wholeheartedly convince All Might that she was a protective mother and then not even look at him afterward? He even has a quirk now. Maybe the problem was never his quirk, but him. He's probably the reason she was never able to act like a real mother. Yet, no matter how many half-baked excuses he made for her, he still couldn't understand. When he was in elementary school, he tried to mend their relationship. He drew her pictures, picked her flowers, and tried to give her hugs. This never went over well. She'd either ignore him or push him away. He was so used to silence from her, he wanted anything but silence. So he tried to get her angry. He got into fights with Kachan by trying to protect other kids and stopped trying to defend himself so the teachers would call her. She never cared. At some point, he stopped expecting her to. He couldn't remember the exact moment, but he gradually stopped telling her about his injuries. He opted to treat himself with the medical kit that she restocked sometimes. At least she did that much. Izuku felt tired from thinking about her. When he went back home to visit in a few days, she wouldn't be there. There wasn't any point for him to visit home anymore aside from his mother's reputation. Izuku sat up abruptly. Why would he force himself to go? If the only reason he was going was for his mom's reputation, then why was he forcing himself to go? With this sudden surge of confidence, Izuku left his dorm. He made his way up the steps and stopped in front of the door to Aizawa's apartment. He took a deep breath and knocked on the door. "What do you want?" the voice from inside asked gruffly. Izuku shifted nervously, his earlier confidence slowly fizzling out. Aizawa-sensei, can I talk to you for a second?" Shuffling from the other side of the door could be heard. Then the door opened. "Come in, problem child." Izuku awkwardly scooted inside, closing the door behind him. Aizawa motioned towards a seat inside the apartment, so Izuku sat down. "So, what is this about?" "I wanted to ask for permission to stay here for the weekend instead of going home, if that's okay with you," Izuku said. Aizawa grunted. "I don't see why not. I'm gonna have to call your mother about it, though." Izuku paled. "Oh, okay. Thank you." But Aizawa looked at him strangely, staring at him like he was trying to put together an all-blank jigsaw puzzle. "If something's wrong, you should talk to someone, whether it be me, another teacher, or one of your peers. I'm sure they'd be happy to help," Aizawa said, though it seemed that no matter how kind his words were, they always seemed to come out in a lazy drawl. Izuku appreciated this. It made it seem like he had a choice since Aizawa wouldn't care either way. Izuku settled for a quick and shaky nod. "Okay, sensei." He got up to leave, but not before sending Aizawa a small smile. And maybe one day he'd feel safe enough to tell Aizawa about his troubles. But this was just his first step. Chapter 2, The Next Step is Always Worth It. It was a painfully normal day when it happened, a mere weeks after Izuku told his teacher that he didn't want to go back home for the weekend. He hadn't been home since, and his mom never asked him about it. To be fair, he only had his mother's contact information out of necessity. He still expected something other than the usual radio silence. He really didn't know why he expected anything different. As a result, he was left to pick up his shattered trust by himself again. She didn't care that he was gone, probably grateful that he was out of her hair. This revelation was heartbreaking. He never expected that he'd prefer the silence over the call he got during lunch. He was eating while talking to his friends. Uraraka was chatting about some movie she saw the other week with Mina while the others listened. Izuku thought it was nice that she was spending more time with the other girls in class. Uraraka deserved to be happy, just like Ida and Todoroki did. After Hosu, Izuku was worried about Ida, but he seemed to bounce back relatively quickly. Todoroki, on the other hand, Izuku was still trying to figure something out for him. He hated the idea that his friend was still controlled by his abusive father. We should all go see a movie soon. I had so much fun with Mina, so I thought that we should too, Uraraka cheered, causing Izuku to zone back in. I agree. I used to go all the time with my brother when I was younger. It is a good bonding activity, Ida chimed in. I've never been to the movies, Todoroki stated, not prepared for the uproar that would cause from his friends. It didn't matter how many times they found out that Todoroki hadn't experienced something they deemed to be important childhood moments. They would always be surprised. It would be good if we went then, Karo, Sue said, earning a nod from Uraraka. It was fun to help Todoroki experience things. Izuku smiled. He hadn't been to a movie since he was 4 and saw an All Might movie with Kachan. Can I come too? Sue tilted her head. We already counted you in. Did you think we won it? Izuku stilled. Was it that obvious? Even he didn't realize it. I just wanted to say, I wanted to clarify that I wanted to go too. The excuse was shoddy at best, but he didn't have the time to think of anything better. Sue didn't look convinced, but she thankfully let it go. Of course you're going, Deku. It wouldn't be complete without you, Uraraka cheered, Ida nodding along with her. He scratched his neck sheepishly, about to respond when his phone started ringing. He was badly startled. The only people who had his number were his friends, who were sitting right beside him, his mother, Kachan, and Aizawa. None of these people were likely to be calling him. You should take that. We'll be waiting for you when you get back, Uraraka said, giving him his out. His other friends nodded along. Izuku politely left the table after that, looking at the caller ID. It was his mom. His heart started pounding. He stumbled out of the cafeteria, finding an empty hallway to peacefully take his call. Hope filled his chest. Hope for something. He'd be happy for anything other than silence. Whether that be her yelling at him, insulting him, or telling him to die. Anything. What he got instead was not that. When he answered the call, he was greeted by his mother's voice. It was directed towards him for the first time in years. It was cold. The lease ends in a month. Figure something out. She hung up. Izuku's heart stopped. What did she mean? The lease? Was she leaving? His breathing steadily quickened. If she was just going to up and abandon him, why now? When he was finally being useful, he had a quirk now. He was going to be a hero. He was going to give her all the money and status that she wanted. Why does she get to just leave? It wasn't fair. He slumped to the floor, phone in his hand and a dumbfounded expression on his face. He stared at the blank phone screen, willing her to call again and reveal that she was just joking. It wouldn't happen. He knew that, and yet. He heard the bell ring and people start to shuffle and move around him, but it all felt so distant, like it was happening in the background. After a while, he couldn't tell how long, the movement stopped, and he was left alone in the quiet open hallway once more. Problem, child? Izuku flinched, looking to see his teacher. A worried gruffness surrounded the man. Izuku tilted his head in confusion. Huh? Aizawa sighed, slumping down next to Izuku. You didn't show up to class after lunch, Aizawa started, and it wasn't a question. He wasn't asking why. It was just a blank statement, as if he already knew why. Though Izuku knew it was likely an act. Izuku startled. What, class? I'm sorry, Aizawa-sensei. I really didn't mean to skip. It won't happen again, I promise. He attempted to stagger to his feet, already trying to lower himself into a bow. Aizawa waved his hand in a vague motion. It's fine, though I would like to know why. Sliding back down the wall into a sitting position, Izuku fiddled with his phone. My mom. She called me during lunch for the first time in a long time. Izuku gulped, hands shaking. She said I had a month to figure something out before the lease ends, but I don't know what to do. Aizawa stilled. What? I think she's going to abandon me. I know she never really cared, but I didn't think she would just leave. This isn't the first time she's left, but this time it's real. She's not coming back, and I'm scared, and I don't know what to do, Izuku rambled, his usual tears finally making their grand entrance cascading down his face in waves. He buried his face in his hands and tried to stifle his sobs. Aizawa turned to the side, shifting his body so that he was facing his sobbing student. Kid, you don't have to figure it out alone. We can help you. I can talk to Nezu about getting you more of a permanent situation in the dorms. It will be okay. I just need you to calm down for me, Aizawa said, pulling Izuku's hands from his face. Izuku was quick to latch around the pro hero, catching him in a tight hug. Aizawa huffed but surprisingly didn't protest, patting Izuku's head with a gentleness that he'd never known. And in that moment, Izuku saw a glimpse of that imaginary parent from his childhood, the one who would protect him and treat him well. He felt safe. And later, Izuku would realize that Aizawa passed on his new knowledge about Izuku's mother to Nezu. A righteous fury bubbled just beneath the surface of the man's skin, and he was ready to pounce. His mother wouldn't get away scot-free, as strange as that was to him. An even stranger thing was that he couldn't find it in himself to care. And maybe one day he'd bring himself to tell Aizawa of the extent of it all. The bullying with Bakugo, his mother's neglect, and the accursed Aldera. But for now, he was content. After all, his newborn trust in Aizawa was just taking its first steps. His trust in the man would continue to grow. And for the first time since All Might told him he could be a hero, Izuku felt hope. And that is the end of this fic. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out, peeps.